Melyssa Ford calls out Flip for unprofessional behavior.
Flip go.
That left Irish goodbye.
How long you been going?
Like 20 minutes.
Yo, we had this conversation.
Might be longer than.
But Flip fires back.
That's party you went to. Look what you did. You caused a kerfuffle.
Yo, this nigga come back. Wow.
Hi, how you doing? I'm a fan. I got ya. Yo, what's about you? Yo, Marc, Big Mel.
And Emanny goes off on Marc Lamont.
You show up at 4 o'clock, so like on Tuesday.
Nigga, you showed up at 4 o'clock today.
Oh, today, yeah. Tuesday. Friday, you just an easy target, I guess.
Only one way to settle this. Duel to death.
What's the prize? So what else is new, guys? Nothing going on.
Nothing.
That's right. On the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast, it appeared like there was some interesting going-ons between the cast. And one of the highlights was when everybody, well, specifically Melyssa Ford and Parks, spotlighted how Flip had disappeared from the episode for a long period of time. I mean, this guy was gone for a while, and Flip came back and he started immediately shooting at Melyssa Ford. But we have to highlight that Flip has been a bit unprofessional. Remember, it seems like there's something in Flip's contract where he only gets paid for his presence and doesn't get paid when he's not there. So it would appear that now his approach to the podcast is that he is just going to show up, even if he doesn't participate, to get that money. I truly believe for all of the lip service that Flip pays to how his other ventures are so profitable, that the JBP is actually where he garners the most consistent money that he can rely on. Sure, he can do it in the room, but that requires a lot of work and effort and investment. But simply just showing up to pod allows him to get a nice consistent check. And in coming back, Flip would expose how Melyssa Ford was at Joe's party and she left with Emanny. I mean, at this point, it's common knowledge that that's what happened. They referenced it on several episodes. Emanny and Melyssa Ford are a thing. It's not even a rumor at this point. Then Flip takes it a step further by mentioning the basketball game and hinting that Marc Lamont Hill's wife was there. When Melyssa Ford arrived, Marc Lamont Hill's wife was not having any type of entertainment of Melyssa Ford talking to him, being nice to him, doing what she did to Emanny's little boo thing at the night of Joe Budden's party. The two diva co-hosts of the Joe Budden podcast are fighting a battle of slightly exposing the other one's shortcomings or misgivings when it comes to content creation. But then later on, I noticed something going on within the show. Everybody seems to want Marc Lamont Hill to fall off. And it got so bad that there was seemingly a contentious moment between Marc Lamont and Emanny where things got beeped out. And then there was an awkward jump cut back to the show, which to me, I believe that Emanny and Marc got into it and Emanny asked for it to be cut out, largely because this is what Emanny does. He gets into arguments and then asks Joe to remove it. I remember when he did this with Ish, when Ish had said that Emanny can't teach him nothing about podcasting, and Emanny was on Twitter saying, I think I'm going to go in and give Ish a piece of my mind. And I think Ish cooked him, so Emanny asked for that to be removed. And overall, I must say that while people are saying this is a great episode, I can't say great. It was really, really good because the cast and the JBP is falling into this really bad thing that they do where they talk about how, oh my God, this moment we had was just so amazing. I have so much fun. It's hilarious. But then they cut it out. I'm sorry, y'all, but you can't be doing that. That messes up the listener experience. You cannot say, yo, we just had one of the craziest moments of the JBP, but we released it. Just cut the whole thing out. You got to make the listener feel like they took part in everything that occurred. And some other things I noticed was Ice saying that, a lot of people be liking new members of the show, but then people turn on them. And he was talking about Marc Lamont. Ice is hoping that Marc Lamont gets his comeuppance and people start to get tired of what he has to offer the show, with Ice even saying it happened a bunch of times up here. I think he said it happened 8 times up here, noting how Rory, Maul, Joe, Flip, Ish, they all come to the show initially and everybody loves them, but then people flip out and no longer like them. And notice this, Ice was never one of those people. He was never somebody that everybody enjoyed. He was fine, he was there, he was present, but as far as being one of the most exceptional members of the show, I don't know what he's talking about. Nobody ever turned on him because they liked him. They turned on him because they thought he was a bad podcaster. So you can basically see that everybody is tired of Marc Lamont Hill gaining all the praise and credit, with Emanny even saying that Marc Lamont Hill is Joe Budden's new toy. Nah, man, Marc Lamont Hill is just talented. And I believe even if Marc Lamont Hill, if the fans turn on him, it will be because they like him so much and they like what he has to say, and he probably missteps and they still will tune in to watch him. It won't be a case where people turn on him and people are like, I'm not watching the show no more. They're going to hate watch Marc Lamont. When he says that inevitable political take where he talks about, gender rights or something that pisses people off within the audience, because a lot of the hip hop urban audience is actually conservative and Marc Lamont Hill's takes are progressive, people are going to hate watch. Even when he says the thing about, women and babies and men and babies, people are going to hate watch that guy, and that's his value. And we are going to see Marc Lamont really take off when Joe starts bringing in the big guest, Umar, maybe Candace Owens if he ever gets them to come back, or even politicians that are right wing. When Marc Lamont Hill is there and the rest of the cast is there looking stuck on stupid, you're going to see the difference even more. And that's the last trick that is going to be played by the 3-letter man. And I want to wrap up this video by quickly summarizing what happened this episode. Flip called out Melyssa Ford for pocket watching and trying to check him for disappearing from the show. Like I said, this is a big deal because Flip has been doing this a lot. I don't think he was, going out because he was needed to go to the bathroom. I think he just wanted to disappear because he didn't want to be there. And his way of getting money in his new contract is simply by being present, because that's probably the stipulations of his agreement with Joe. Emanny calls out Marc Lamont for maybe taking things too far in a joking way, saying things like, oh, everybody disses you, nobody respects you, because that was a conversation that was shortly being had before the beep and the weird edit. Flip exposed how Melyssa Ford was being targeted by Marc Lamont Hill's wife at the basketball game because she noticed something was fishy and she didn't want Melyssa Ford giving any rhythm to Marc. So a lot of things happened this episode. I think it's called Clear the Nosebleeds. Make sure you check it out. I wouldn't say it's a perfect episode, but it was one that was really interesting, really engaging. I don't like the position that the show is taking of letting us into something that happened off camera, not clarifying and leaving the audience out of it. I saw the Patreon comments. They don't like it either. So this isn't an opinion that I only have, but we will see as time goes on if they change this, or maybe they like creating that FOMO. I don't know. It's different if you create FOMO behind the paywall so people can kind of see, oh, I got to see this. But if you create FOMO for something that happened off camera, that just leads to resentment. And FOMO, by the way, is fear of missing out. It's the way a lot of companies are now getting you to buy subscription packages. Oh, you're missing out. We just had a funny basketball game. Ish broke his ankle. You guys need to watch right now. You guys need to pay. And if they want people to pay for stuff where they don't even feel like they're taking part in the whole discussion, that's messed up. But let me know what you think. Was this Patreon episode a classic like people are saying? I don't think it was. Did you feel like there was tension being expressed through jokes? Because this is one thing I noticed about podcasts, is that there'll be a lot of jokes and then there'll be tension to actually reflect what's going on. So it will be rooted in something that's real and it's playing out in front of camera, but there's still unexpressed emotions that will express themselves later on. Also, tap in with me on Patreon. I just did another episode of I'll Stop This Podcast Later. I interviewed S, who was the former co-host of Melyssa Ford's Menopod podcast. I really enjoyed it. Thought S gave it up about the particulars of the deal she had with Melyssa Ford, just generally expressing what went wrong with the partnership, and I think it was interesting. Also, there's more episodes on the Patreon, more clips of the episode on Patreon. Rocky Thunder was great. Evan was great. I have the best cast in the world. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Patreon, The Stop. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.